With COVID-19 raging on, one surprising beneficiary of the pandemic seems to be the Chrome OS platform. That makes sense seeing every parent and their children are using Zoom and cloud-based work suites on the daily. Lenovo sent us a review unit of the IdeaPad 3 Chromebook, which sells at an affordable price of $250. And with an ever-saturating market of quality budget laptops, does this one have a spot on your consideration list? Chromebooks are an easy piece of technology to review whether to recommend to buyers or not. Unlike Android phones where OEMs often add their own skin or additional features onto the device, all Chromebooks are unified in their delivery of a computing experience. When you pop open that lid, you're greeted with a quick boot up and a simple setup process, which goes into Chrome OS's home screen. The heart of modern Chromebooks revolve around the Android Google Play Store, which allows this lightweight operating system to give users all the applications they need for just about any task. Where things deviate from Chromebook to Chromebook is with performance. This is of course influenced by the type of processor powering the laptop. On the IdeaPad 3, Lenovo opted to use an Intel Celeron N4020 chipset that has long populated budget Chromebooks. It might sound weird for me to say this, but I'd rather see an ARM chip processor on budget Chrome OS devices, as Android apps seem to respond better to those. Surfing the internet on the IdeaPad 3 is enjoyable enough with little to no stuttering when navigating through 3 to 5 tabs. Anything more will usually bog down load times. When it comes to apps, I've been actually relatively surprised at how well it's held up on its own. Games like Pokemon Quest and Bloons Adventure Time work flawlessly as if you were playing this on one of the Android flagship phones. There were no frame-dropping issues with games of that stature. Certain graphically intensive games like War Robots wouldn't even open up on this laptop. That's pretty much what I've come to expect from Intel Celeron processors on Chrome OS. One thing this Chromebook has that many newer Chromebooks are departing from is the inclusion of multiple ports. While the inclusion of ports adds to the thickness of the device, there are still many use case scenarios that require plugging in accessories. The IdeaPad 3 provides you with 2 USB-C ports, 2 USB-A ports, a headphone jack, and a micro SD card reader. That'll be plenty enough for any kid to get their homework done. The addition of a micro SD card slot also helps alleviate the minuscule 32 gigabytes of onboard storage this laptop has. It's also nice to have this laptop charged through USB-C. While adoption rates have skyrocketed these last couple of years, some budget devices are still holding out with micro USB. It's definitely refreshing to see a USB-C on a $250 laptop. Speaking of charging, you'll get solid battery life here. If you literally use this for web browsing on Chrome OS as it was intended for, it will be days before you need to charge. However, if you use this laptop for entertainment purposes, I was able to squeeze roughly 45 hours running a game non-stop off the plug. That's not too bad. What is bad is without a doubt the TN display here. I thought we left TN displays in the rear view window once the Asus Chromebook Flip launched. It showed the world that you can have a budget price point with a screen that's actually viewable. Yet here we are in 2020 and I'm viewing the same eyesore that tainted my vision in the early 2010s. Of course, I'm being sarcastic here, yet the frightening thing is I'm not exactly fully kidding. This is not a high quality display by any means. You can't really expect to be blown away at $250, but I can at least be hopeful to want to look at a laptop, right? I can't stand to keep my eyes on this TN panel for longer than a few minutes at a time. You can't really discuss viewing angles when there are no viewing angles that are comfortable to look at in the first place. I can't even tell you how many times my hand reaches for the hinge to adjust the viewing angle of this display while reading just one article. At least you can fold the display all the way flat to the table. Not that it really helps. Yes, the size is great for the price at 14.1 inches. I'm even going to say that at the bare minimum qualification of HD 1366 by 768p, it doesn't bother me when I keep reminding myself this is only $250. The only thing I cannot get off my mind is ironically another Chromebook from Lenovo we recently reviewed, the Chromebook Duet. Yes, the form factor and the intended use cases are different, but for a mere $20-ish more, the viewing experience on that device was so much better. I can't even put into words how night and day it is. Literally, it's like viewing night and day. Not having glare reflections on the screen might be the only positive thing I have to say about TN panels on Chromebooks. Don't get me wrong though, I don't hate TN panels. In fact, at the lab I work in, I actually use TN panels every single day. I just can't stand low-resolution TN panels on laptops. They have to go. Everything else about the IdeaPad 3 Chromebook is satisfactory. This is constructed from plastic and deceptively large. I say deceptively because from a distance, you could easily mistake this for a much thinner device. Lenovo focused the majority of the components towards the rear before thinning it out to hit the lip. It's plastic for sure, but seems well put together. I do like the typing experience here too, thanks to the large, comfortable key layout. The keycaps don't give off that mushy feel that many laptops in the budget range of yesteryear are known for. I'm pleasantly happy with the tactile response and touch of this non-backlit keyboard. No backlighting is a deterrent from using this laptop in many scenarios, but I do tend to give these devices a pass thanks to the low price tag. The Trackpad, on the other hand, gives me much less material to praise. Since this is a rather large laptop size, there is a fair amount of room for the Trackpad. While it's a decent size as it is, I've seen laptops of much smaller stature with about the same Trackpad imprint. I think Lenovo could have bumped that up just a little bit. The problem with the Trackpad is that it isn't quite precise enough to be reliable to use. I found myself having to subconsciously target what I'm clicking on more than usual. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's sluggish for response time, but I will say it felt airy as if the arrow you control had no weight to it. To round out the hardware side of the IdeaPad 3, you're probably wondering where the speakers are. Like many older Chromebook designs, there are dual speakers on the bottom panel of the laptop. Down-facing speakers on a budget laptop, they're never any good. And this trend continues here. Sound coming out of the IdeaPad 3 is muffled and kind of archaic sounding. You can tell Lenovo didn't put a lot of value into audio reproduction here, and a part of me actually doesn't really mind that. I doubt many people looking for a device for entertainment purposes will be looking at this laptop in the first place. Lenovo at least gave users a headphone jack here. Also, don't expect much from the 720p webcam. You'll have to rely on your own beauty to impress your coworkers or classmates instead of placing your trust on the capabilities of this camera. What it comes down to ultimately when considering the IdeaPad 3 are two things: intended use of the laptop and the budget. Although the Chromebook Duet is a significantly different device from the traditional laptop built like this, unless you for some reason can't add $25 to your budget, I highly recommend looking into that direction. If you legitimately only had $250 and not a dime more to spend, you can do a lot worse than the IdeaPad 3. This isn't an ideal computing machine, but it is very much a serviceable machine. You'll just have to stomach looking at it.
You know what you should do? Hit that subscribe button, because by the time this video is out, something better is probably going to come out, so you're going to have to come back to our channel and watch the review of something better anyway. So be sure to check that video out in the future, and I'll see you in that video.